All right, guys, I just found this on Turkey's Twitter. Hear it from himself, but check out his mannerisms and how he's talking. Turkey, you gotta stop hanging out with so many Americans, mate.
Canelo in Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September,
Terence Crawford, I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a reason.
In an unexpected twist, Saudi consultant Turki Alalshik has revealed that Terence Crawford may fight on the undercard of Canelo Alvarez's next big event. The development has caused heated discussion throughout the boxing world, as the highly anticipated match between Canelo and Crawford suddenly appears questionable, with plans altering in an entirely other route.
Alalshik playing games. You got somebody ask Turki Alalshik, is this happening? Look at his response about Crawford facing Canelo. Look at his response. Make the fight, Turkey, make the fight.
The Canelo vs. Crawford fight had been brewing for months. Fans and commentators had already made predictions and discussed the thought of the undisputed welterweight champion stepping up to face boxing itself. Crawford, fresh off his demolition of Errol Spence Jr., was viewed as the pound-for-pound #1, while Canelo, the undisputed champion at 168, remained boxing's biggest draw, continuing to fight under the brightest lights and on the most prestigious venues. The buzz was real, and given Turki Alalshik's extensive involvement in redefining global boxing through big events in Saudi Arabia, many thought it was just a matter of time before he formally announced Crawford vs. Canelo, but Alalshik reversed direction.
and he's starting to rehab now and training again, and we hope to. He's one of our plan to see him fight in 25.
The goal obviously is a Canelo fight for him, right?
We hope he wants this fight, and why not?
You and Canelo, I know you guys are working towards trying to do a fight. What's the status of that?
We will see maybe next month, next 2 months, let's see.
Turkey informed reporters this week that he no longer plans to stage bout between Canelo and Crawford, at least not in the near future. He stated that both guys may now fight in more fascinating matches, emphasizing Crawford's prospects on the Saudi boxing stage. What stood out the most was Turkey's surprising suggestion that Terence Crawford fight on the undercard of Canelo's next event.
I said to you, Canelo, we are ready to February. Crawford ready, except...
The boxing community responded quickly to Crawford's appearance on Canelo Alvarez's undercard, as many see him as the most technically proficient boxer in the sport today. This tidbit alone altered the entire tone of the debate. Canelo answered quickly, stating unequivocally that he supported the idea. He said, "You know, there are just levels to it. Crawford is a great fighter, and I would be very happy to fight on the same night as him." While the statement appeared to be respectful, it was quickly labeled as a subtle dig. The phrase "there are just levels to it" is simply Canelo putting Crawford in his place. It wasn't harsh, but it had weight. He recognized Crawford's skills while reminding everyone who the headliner is.
I think should be gone. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jamel Charlo already proved that.
This back-and-forth emphasized an implicit power dynamic regarding skill. Crawford's record is as impressive as it gets, undefeated and unchallenged at 140 and dominant at 147, but Canelo remains unrivaled in terms of marketability, global recognition, and box office power. He's been headlining pay-per-views for more than a decade. His name alone draws millions, and his fights sell out stadiums. When Turki Alalshik mentions Canelo's card, everyone knows who the show is centered around.
In Riyadh, in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September, then 2 more fights in 26. Don't miss with the line.
The idea that Crawford fight on that program, not as the main event, but as a featured contest, quickly became one of the most talked about developments in boxing. It wasn't just about schedule. It was about hierarchy, despite the fact that both boxers had voiced a desire to face off. Ulaşık's recent move sends a strong message. He sees greater potential in promoting Crawford under Canelo's banner rather than instantly pitting them against each other. It's unclear whether this is due to financial reasons, promotional plan, or simply timing.
Ulaşık, did you start to find some of his comments almost disrespectful when he was talking about eat you alive head-to-head on Mexican Independence Day?
Yeah,
if you're smart, you'll take the deal.
I respect everybody. I respect everybody, but I don't like that way he talks. But it's his problem, not my problem. And I don't ask for a fight. And I don't ask for any fight. So I respect, like I say.
Crawford has yet to issue an official statement regarding the development, but fans online are already split. Some think that it is an insult to one of the sport's best fighters, while others believe it is a wise choice. If Crawford wants to be a part of these huge Saudi cards, he may have to play the game for now, like Devin did on Ryan's undercard. The Saudi deal is just too good for ego to pass up.
Versus Canelo. Ryan versus Devin. I think it's a good year for boxing. I think it's a great year for boxing. I'm eager to see this rematch. Hopefully we can get this rematch this year. Hopefully we can get it this year.
Canelo, however, is already set to lead a show in Riyadh on May 3, 2025, against undefeated Cuban super middleweight William Skull. The fight has hardly sparked much interest, but it has a purpose. It keeps Canelo active, fulfills a mandatory defense, and maintains his momentum ahead of possible larger contests later this year. Turkey Ulaşık has not confirmed if Crawford will participate on the same program, but the inference is clear. If Crawford wants to fight soon under the Saudi banner, it may be as a co-main event alongside Canelo.
Too excited of us to go out and talk about
September. Congratulations, boys! Yeah! Congrats! We're happy for you. That is awesome. Well, go ahead, Dana.
We actually are getting together with him tomorrow. We're going to shoot some content, and when it's time to announce, we have a massive fight. Literally, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. A massive fight that only this guy could make him.
The bigger question now is what happens to the idea of Canelo versus Crawford. While Ulaşık has chosen not to fight right now, he has not fully ruled it out. According to those close to the scene, the door remains open. If both boxers continue to win and demand grows, there's no reason to assume the showdown won't be revived in 2026. Nonetheless, some experts have started to speculate on how the fight would play out, and many are rooting with Canelo. Although Crawford is regarded as one of the most complete fighters of his generation, most professionals think the size and power gap at 168 pounds would be insurmountable.
Is not 14-inch gloves, not 2-minute round, not beating a legend in the age of your grandfather. Boxing is not like this. Do not name it boxing, please. Name it show. I am not against it. Name it show.
Crawford has fought up to 154 pounds, but never against someone as physically strong and skilled as Canelo. The Mexican star has spent years fighting and defeating larger opponents such as Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, and Cal Smith. He's also held his own at 175 against fighters like Dimitri Bivol, despite losing by decision. Several analysts think that Crawford, while technically superior to most opponents, could be worn down by Canelo's body blows and pressure over 12 rounds. Others have gone even further, saying that Crawford would not even make it to the final bell. The transition from welterweight to super middleweight is significant, and doing so against someone like Canelo, who knows how to nullify movement and punish the body, would be incredibly risky.
I just gotta beat him. I'm not going in there looking to knock Canelo out. Could it happen? Yes, absolutely. You know, when I look at Canelo, he's a smaller, bigger guy moving up in divisions. You know, being that these big guys are slower, so they might catch him with something, but he might see it at the last moment. You know, they might catch him with a heart.
That hasn't stopped Crawford's fans from supporting him. Many still think he is the smarter, faster, and more flexible fighter. They point to Crawford's fight with Errol Spence, in which he dominated from the start. They claim that he sees things in the ring that others don't, and that he will find a way to explode Canelo's style even if he drops 15 to 20 pounds on fight night. At the same time, this problem has evolved into something more than a matchup. It is about status. Crawford fighting on Canelo's undercard, even once, would send a strong message about the global boxing industry's power relations.
Canelo winning, and I'm not, you know, I don't know Canelo very well. I'll say hi to him if I see him. He'll say hi to me too, but we're not friends. You know, I could probably say I spent more time with Crawford, so I would love to see Crawford pull it out. I would be more happy to see Crawford win, you know, because I know him better. I know him. I see him develop in top rank.
Canelo is more than simply a fighter. He is a business. He chooses his opponents. He controls the calendar. And now even someone as recognized and decorated as Terence Crawford may have to align with his circle to participate in the big events. For Turki Alalshik, this method could be part of a larger plan. By having Crawford fight under Canelo first, he can continue to grow Crawford's international star power, especially in the Middle East, while leaving the door open for a mega fight in the future. Meanwhile, the drama between the two boxers keeps things interesting and is currently driving the story. Canelo versus Crawford is no longer on the immediate schedule, but the storyline stays intense. Crawford is possible fighting on Canelo's undercard, especially after months of fans fantasizing about the two facing off. This is an important turning point. Whether it is a stepping stone or a permanent demotion depends on what happens next. However, it is possible that the combat will take place later. Even though it's now hovering somewhere between myth and fact, it hasn't stopped everyone from fans to pros to retired legends from weighing in. And let's just say the reactions are anything but lukewarm.
There's no Triple G on Bud's resume. There's no Trout on Bud's resume. There's no Daniel Jacobs on Bud's resume. Canelo is the one that's fought the elite level opposition. It's Canelo that fought Laura. There is no Laura on Bud's resume. There is no Laura on Bud's resume. Bud has never faced a multiple division champ. Bud has never faced a multiple division champ.
Okay, but Bud is an elite boxer.
So you're an elite boxer, but you haven't fought elite boxer.
Abel Sanchez, a longtime boxing trainer, is one of the more engaging and experienced voices to join the discourse lately. If you know anything about current boxing history, Sanchez isn't just some guy with a whistle and a stopwatch. He's the main force behind Gennady Golovkin's early career success, as well as a man who knows ring IQ, strategy, and weight classes. Better than others, Crawford isn't buying into the hype surrounding his fight with Canelo. Come on. I think it's a ridiculous fight myself, Sanchez remarked in a brutally honest chat with Fight Hub TV. Crawford is too small. That's the type of comment that stings not because it's meant as disrespect, but because it taps into a very real and dangerous truth. In boxing, size matters. Sanchez doesn't reject Crawford's greatness. In fact, he gives him credit for his hand, speed and ring intelligence, but he draws a sharp line. Crawford might be slick, but Canelo is a bridge too far, and he makes the comparison that a lot of hardcore fans will remember clearly when Kell Brook moved up in weight to face Sanchez's own fighter Gennady Golovkin back then. Brook's speed gave Golovkin trouble for a few rounds, but once the power and pressure started landing, it was only a matter of time before things broke down. That's exactly how Sanchez sees Canelo versus Crawford playing out. The hand speed was evident at the beginning of the fight, he said, but as the fight goes on, Canelo is going to start pounding on him. It's a brutal assessment, and Sanchez isn't sugarcoating anything. He believes that anything Canelo lands is going to hurt Crawford, and by the time Crawford adjusts to the timing, the damage will already be done. He even gives a round estimate somewhere between the 9th and the 12th. Canelo closes the show.
I do wonder how effective Crawford can be to keep moving up in weight. You're starting to see that, now he's not quite as strong. The knockout streak is over. but he can box really, really well. But Madrimov pressed him the whole fight, so obviously the power wasn't getting the respect that he might have gotten when he was a little at the smaller weight classes. And remember, Canelo is a guy who presses a lot. That's one thing Canelo does. Canelo's not very active, but he gets in your face.
While fans are still dreaming about but pulling off the impossible, people who've spent decades around top fighters are already writing the ending. Sanchez even pointed to Crawford's last fight, his 154lb win over Israel Madrimov, as proof that the weight does make a difference. I don't care how much weight he gains or how much he does to get up to that level. 168 is going to make a difference. Crawford fans haven't just ignored the size difference, they've changed the entire storyline. People were paying careful attention after Canelo's new workout film emerged on the internet. Canelo looked sharp, with tight hooks, crisp technique, perfect movement, and traditional Canelo, but something felt awful little slower and less explosive. And then the take started flying. But we'll do it, one fan stated. Undisputed at 5 weights. Another weighed in. I think Crawford is too. Quick now, Canelo looks slightly slower. One fan even worried that Canelo was already over the hill and had to be nearing the end of his exercise, or that age was catching up with him. He's looking a little slow. Crawford will be thrilled, of course. Canelo's fans were not having it. King of 168. Let's go. He's still got that power. Someone added. Another reply. He's so precise with his shots. It's going to be a problem with the size edge for Crawford. That's where this fight lives right now, in the clash between cold logic and pure belief, between experience and hope, between size and skill. Canelo is already set to fight William Skull in Riyadh on May 3rd. Skull may not have the most flashy moniker, but he is unbeaten, and Canelo is the most informed about boxing politics. Skull becomes undisputed at 168 again, and suddenly the Crawford fight becomes not just big but historic. You'd have a 2-time undefeated super middleweight champ defending against a 4-division champ trying to become a 5-division monster. That's legacy on top of legacy, and Crawford isn't just sitting around. He's quietly working, getting used to the new weight sharpening tools, changing his frame to the demands of a fight against someone who's fought the likes of Bai.
I'm going with Terrence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terrence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terrence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can.
That's not hype talk, that's an addiction. Crawford's the type of fighter who doesn't just prepare, he changes. He's studying Canelo's patterns, his habits, and his tells, and whether that will be enough to bridge the power gap is still the million-dollar question. But some already think they know the answer, and they're putting real money behind it. Shannon Briggs, the former heavyweight champ, came out swinging with a statement that's already got people talking. I've got Crawford by stoppage, a brutal stoppage, he said on S News. I've got $1 OK on it now. Now that's a statement. Briggs is no stranger to debate, but when a guy who fought Lennox Lewis and George Foreman tells you Crawford's going to brutally stop Canelo, people perk up. If I'm easy work, I heard him say. I'm easy work. If I was easy work, well, you know you'd take all that money that he's giving you. But yet and still, he wants $200 million for Benavidez, and he wants $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to his reputation. The reaction was instant. Crawford, stop. Canelo, you're dreaming. But others, they started asking if Briggs saw something that the rest of the world hasn't caught yet. Maybe it's Crawford's timing, maybe it's Canelo slowing down, maybe just maybe it's the element of surprise. Still, if we're being real, most of the boxing establishment sees Crawford walking into dangerous seas. This isn't Kell Brook moving up and catching a few clean shots before getting crushed. This is Crawford, a man who genuinely thinks he's the best ever, stepping up into a world where Canelo lives, not just visits. And if there's anything consistent about Canelo, it's that he gets better as the fight goes on. Just ask Daniel Jacobs, ask Billy Joe Saunders, and ask Sergey Kovalev. They all had moments, but finally the size and strength broke them down. The difference is none of those guys had Crawford's brain, and that's where Bud's fans place their faith in the ability to outthink the pain to win a chess match before it becomes a fight. But one thing's for sure, The September fight, should Canelo beat Skull, will not just be a battle of styles, it will be a battle of times, energy, and ego.
If I'm easy work, I heard him say I'm easy work. If I was easy work, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want 200 million for Benavidez, and he want 150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him, I'm a threat to his legacy.
On one side, you've got a proven champion who's done everything, faced everyone, and has the most polished brand in boxing. On the other, a cerebral assassin who's built a quiet empire of greatness, no flashy marketing, no social media antics, just pure violence and skill. So, what do you think of the fight? Share your ideas below, and don't forget to like and subscribe too.